Hello and welcome to another interview on Flow with me, Tim Shieff, and I'm joined by...
Hi, my name's Anan Anwar.
How old are you?
26 years old.
26, and it's from Bangkok?
I'm from Bangkok, Thailand.
Yeah. Good to be here. We're in your apartment right now.
Yeah, right now we're in my apartment in Bangkok.
Yeah. Happy to join you, man.
No,
I've been here once before.
Yeah, it's good to have you back.
It was a lot of fun when I came before. And we'll get started right at the start, right? So I say start, you were like 10 years old. You were a child pop star in Thailand, right?
So I hear, yeah. People do tell me.
You get I've never been with anyone that gets recognized on the street as much as this guy does. Every time we go to a restaurant, the people that served us want photos at the end and things like that. It's quite cool, and you're so humble about it as well. How old were you when you started that career?
I think I got into it when I was 12 years old. That's when I first got scouted out and started working towards my first album. So I was 12 years old when my first album released.
And how many albums have you had?
4, I think. I've had 4 in like the first 6 years.
Okay, cool. And you did movies as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was the whole 9 yards. It was albums, movies, and TV series.
That's amazing. And how has that like shaped you into the person you are today?
I'm incredibly like up myself, and like I can't stand it when people look me in the eye. It really bugs me.
Yeah, clearly, man.
I mean, obviously, 6 years in the entertainment industry just gears you into that frame of mind all the time. So you're always thinking about an audience perspective, sort of that entertainment value all the time.
So that's really helped you come into parkour then, because you've got that extra like training that no one else seemed to have when you're looking at trying to make this commercial viable.
It's always been sport from the aspect of a spectator. You know, it's not just like sport for sport's sake. Like just about, you know, track and field was always cool, but it didn't interest me like b-boys and inline skating and wakeboarding did.
So what is your history before you found parkour? What were you doing?
Well, while I was doing all that sort of sing and dance stuff, I was also, my brothers were really into extreme sports, so whatever they did, I did. And I did like aggressive inline skating for like 4 years from when I was 12. And
you competed with that?
Yeah, I actually competed in the Asian Junior X Games when it was here in Thailand. That was fun. That was a good experience.
So you were successful in that sport. And what else did you do?
And a couple years later, we got really into wakeboarding. Me and my family, we just like went all out with wakeboarding.
Wow. And you still do that and compete with that?
I still ride whenever I get a chance. Whenever I'm not abroad doing free running, I come home. I want a day off. I'll go down to the lake and just have a jam session.
I've seen you doing double fronts and things.
I was a very competitive wakeboarder as well.
Do you find there's much translation from the wakeboarding techniques to free running? Is that like the off-axis spinning and things like that?
I think when I started out, like it definitely was like it really influenced my style. I had this weird sort of like half squat position on every landing. It's like my feet were pointed out.
You still see that a little bit.
You still see that a lot, like that like sturdy base setup. Like,
that's from wakeboard, okay. That's a rare thing coming in, because a lot of free runners either did gymnastics or martial arts or a bit of skateboarding or a bit of breakdancing. Especially
really different from the gymnastics coming into free running, because they do everything very straight over the top. You know, you see their perfect straight falls. My shit was all out the side and like all sorts of weird angles.
That's cool though. That gives a really unique perspective. And you've got quite a flowy style. And I guess that didn't really come from that. Was there anyone that influenced you to want to be like that, or was that just your natural build? Because sometimes free runners are influenced by their build more than by...
I mean, I guess that all factored in, but at the same time, it was like, I come from a dance background, so it was like, it was always more about choreography than just hitting the big moves. I mean, you know, b-boys we'll talk about all the time, like it's not just about power moves, it's all that other stuff and how good that all comes together. Power moves are all important and shit, but I was all into that sort of pop lock and choreographed stuff. So that was the base. And all the big flips and that came much after that.
Yeah, that's wicked, man. And you even do like finger tutting. I've seen some really cool finger tutting.
And that wasn't even me. That was something like Jason kind of introduced me to, and I just, you know, monkey see, monkey do, nothing to do in the background, just messing about with your fingers.
And so, when did you actually discover parkour? What was the first thing that made you?
It was actually weird, because like my first experience with seeing free running was definitely probably Jump London and Jump Britain. But back then I was still in Thailand and there was like no scene here. So I wanted to try it out, but you know, you're a solo. I wasn't one of those people who would just go out and just solo run it. So I waited a couple years later. I went to university in Sydney. And that's when I'm like,
that's what it was.
maybe there's a scene out here, so I jumped back on Google and just Sydney parkour, and that's how I met up with like that local scene. And then that's how I met up with Sean for the first time, just training in Sydney. So that was my start when I went to university.
And then that took you to go to Australia, and then when did you really first notice it kicking off in Thailand?
In Thailand?
Was it from you then? Were you that spark that you came back and you were like, I'm doing it anyway?
I mean, at the same time I started in Sydney, there was local groups, local individuals starting here. So when I came back a few years later when I was done with uni, there was a very small sort of growing community here. It's like 5, 6, 7 people who regularly training, and they were, posted a few videos now and then. They were getting into that online scene. So it kind of happened, in conjunction with that, just naturally.
Yeah, and how have you seen the scene grow from when you first came back then to right now in Thailand? Well, you get a lot of your hits on your Farang content, like you get like 26,000 hits and things on videos just from Thailand.
Yeah, we get, because of my position here before I got into free running, like as soon as I brought it back here, it was like,
there's a small following.
I got a small following of like people who were interested in what I was doing. So free running was this not only was this cool thing, but they could attach it to a celebrity as well. So I got a lot of extra attention from doing this, sort of extreme sport, this adventure sport. So I even got like commercials and a lot of TV shows and stuff like that, just because like I'm a celebrity and I got to do this crazy sport that no one else could really do here yet.
Wow.
So I got a lot of attention from it.
So we briefly mentioned you're in Farang and you met Sean when you went to university in Sydney.
Yeah.
When did you meet Jason?
How does this go again? I met Sean for the first time when, me and Sean started free running about the same time when I was just going to university in Sydney. And then after that I was done with uni and I came back to Thailand, and Sean was looking for an excuse to get out of Australia, so he came to Thailand, and then kind of never went home. Well, he went home a couple of times, but he always found an excuse to make it back. And then we had this thing where, more and more people just kept coming back and visiting me here. And then that's how the Farang tour started, just Australians coming over, and then friends of friends kept inviting more people. And then one time back in 2010, Jason got wind of, another little mini vacation happening here. That's when I met Jason. He showed up at my door, didn't know who he was, shook his hand, said, come in. And that's how it started.
That's how you first met.
That's where like that's the 2010 Farang video was made when Jason first came and Sean came for a week, and in that week we just busted out a video and visited some abandoned buildings and some temples. And it was a pretty memorable video for us.
Did you know, because you were the local in the area, did you then take them, or did you discover all these temples and abandoned buildings together, or did you kind of you'd been there with your training before, or you wanted to check them out and wait for the right people to come?
Well, it's actually, being the local, that stuff is kind of dead to you. You don't really see it for this amazing thing anymore. It was actually more, it was more like Jason and Sean who were like, we need some temples and some abandoned buildings and some epic, over the ghetto roof gaps and stuff like that. So that was more their initiative, and I went, you really want that? All right, it's there.
That European, where we were training on roofs a bit more, maybe.
But
let's go exploring here.
I was more of the tour guide saying, if you want that, you got to go here, you got to go here.
Cool. But you've traveled the world quite a lot with Farang. And where are some of your favorite spots you've trained at?
Oh man, as soon as Farang started to take off, we got a lot of traveling done. Definitely Q8 was one of the most memorable. You were there on that one as well. The Art of Motion there, that was a really amazing location.
Favorite Red Bull so far.
I really enjoyed that one. And I hit up Santorini now. I hit up Sweden, all of Europe and London. And I only finally made out to America for the first time a few months ago.
The takeover.
For the takeover, I had an awesome time in that gym.
And would you say that's your favorite place to train? Or you've been to Singapore as well, right?
Singapore is an amazing place. Like, I don't know, people have this perception of Singapore like it's really strict, like, oh my god, you can't chew gum.
When I said I wanted to go to Singapore, someone was like, oh yeah, but you won't really be allowed to do parkour there. And I was thinking, I've seen some amazing videos from Singapore.
And actually the people are incredibly laid back. It's like they're very passive, and like the whole time, every time I go there, we'll go training for a few days. Don't see any police officers anywhere. Like there's like no security, and no one asks you to move on almost. So it's actually compared to a lot of
the place.
It's actually it's actually better.
With the future for yourself, where do you want to go? Do you want to wakeboarding more, free running more? Does it matter? Like,
I mean, what it is doesn't matter as much as how it feels. As long as
Yeah.
it feels fresh and feels new, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, but this kind of feels like the sport for me. Like I don't have any intentions of just going, all right, I'm bored of this, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
In fact, for me, if I woke up and I broke my legs, and I couldn't do anything for a while, I'd still feel like there was work to be done, because I feel like in this sport, there's an opportunity to help grow the culture, and that's kind of what we want to do with Farang. We want to do more than just action videos. We want to show lifestyle and fashion and culture, and let people see our attitude to the world a bit more.
And to me, that's kind of obvious the way you're doing everything to do that. But I mean, you've still got gigs coming up with your music. Like you're still doing that. You've got fingers in so many different sports. Like you're one of the most active people, and you managed to retain such high levels in all these different fields.
Well, it kind of people might think that takes away, but it actually adds to my ability to draw from other things and put it into and share it into other sports with each other. So like my inline skating and my b-boy and dance background feed into my free running. I think it's quite clear from my kind of style. But I mean, I think having your fingers in a lot of pie is just the best way to really get the most out of your experience.
The juggle, people think you should just commit to one thing and then that will make you the best at that. But sometimes juggling these different things, they all
add to each other.
And it gives you a break from the other thing.
No, I think that's definitely for a creative sport where like your ability to think outside the box is valued. You have to juggle. You have to be able to open up to other things.
It's really cool, man. All right, thanks for talking to me and answering the questions I had for you.
My pleasure.
Now we're going to go to the internet and check out what the community's got to ask you. Start off with Philip Shank. What's your favorite trick?
What's my favorite trick? It's always a weird question because like, do you have a favorite trick yourself?
No, I think maybe when you start out as a free runner the first few years, you have something that you love doing. As you get more into it, there's no favorite. Different tricks work for different environments.
Yeah, I mean, I from that perspective, I get it. I remember when I was starting out my first year, I just loved looking for like weird underbar situations. Like the smallest gap I get underbar, I'd be on it. Like that's mine. Small Asian skinny build. I got that. You know. So you kind of play to your strengths.
Yeah, every year I've had a different thing. As the first few years of parkour, there was like cat to cat was one year's biggest move, and another year was like big running cat leaps, and it always seems to change. And now everyone's just doing it. It's more just linking tricks,
it's weird. I mean, back then you specialized and you did what you enjoyed the most, and now you try to really fill out your weaknesses.
As the sport's grown, it's filling out your weaknesses and how you can connect. It's the location determines the trick.
And it's amazing what you don't realize what some people don't feel comfortable doing when you go to like big jams. Like they're so strong here, and that here, they don't feel confident at all, but other people dominate.
Kevin Chang said, "Why haven't you come back to Singapore?"
When I get some time, I'll come back to Singapore. Last year has been just all out. We've been on the road, and we really wanted to dedicate as much time to producing regular content for the Farang channel. So I think that was our priority. So, but now hopefully things will coast a bit better now that we got a backlog of some stuff. And we'll definitely we'll have to come back to Singapore and see how the scenes progress.
I'd love to join you on that. Shembri Christian says, "How do you carry all your equipment?"
In a bag on my back. Next question.
Tommy Gilmore, when is your next album coming out?
God, that one I get a lot actually. It's a weird one because like I keep saying that I'm gonna work on a new album and then drop it. It's coming out soon. But then it just never seems to be a good window. Like we banged out a couple of tracks a little while ago, but then it never amounted to a full album to get released.
When the time's right.
When the time's right, I mean, I'm really locked into what I'm doing now. I'm trying to create something, so I don't feel like that's a priority.
That's fine.
So I don't know when the
best way
time
to run it, follow your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it says. Kyle Reynolds, what's been your favorite event you have all been to?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's been so many. Like
the Tempest one sounded pretty good.
That was like definitely all the way up there. I mean, before that, the Kuwait one was amazing. That was my first Art of Motion. And then the Sweden Airweb Challenge, that was great. That was my first competition, and it was just like, it was the end of a long tour through Europe, so it was just the icing on the cake. But definitely to date, like being at the Tempest gym for like 2-3 weeks, and then having the video and then the workshop at the end of that was crazy. That was like, that has to be like top experience for me. This is from Asrul Septian Malik. If Anan and Tony Jaa had a fight, who will be the winner? Are you kidding me? I'm trained at running away. He would kick my ass. Good answer. Ice Cream Lake Stream, favorite Michael Bolton album? What makes you think I even know that?
Yeah.
Any.
I have no idea. Mel's Rosing, what are your favorite caps?
My favorite caps, as in like ever? I don't know.
You got some with Farang, you know?
Yeah, my own cap, man. That's a bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm digging the Air Whip one right now. The white cap with the colored brim.
Yeah.
That one's cool. That's got a weird sort of tint to it. So it goes with a lot of cool shit.
Cool. Callum Powell says, do you have a special diet to help with your training?
Admittedly, I actually don't spend enough. I don't put enough emphasis on nutrition as I think I should. I kind of just eat what I want when I want it. So at times I'm lucky. I'm feeling like I'm drawn to that healthy stuff anyways. But I don't know. Sometimes I'll binge out on fast food just because it's convenient. So I actually don't.
You live in Thailand with all this fresh fruit on your corner just street.
Yeah, and you know more about that stuff than I do. I'm like, you keep asking me what this is. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah. But man, if I had that on my corner, it'd be daily.
I go through phases of when I'm really
cool,
down on my food.
As long as you can listen to your body, that's
exactly. Like it complains a lot nowadays, so like I have to listen. Yeah.
It's a good question from Alexander M. Blakely, because I know you're a big reader. What are your favorite books?
Oh, what are my favorite books? That's a tough one. I'd say the ones that have had, I'd rather say authors that have had a big effect on me, because like once I get hooked on an author, I kind of just consume everything they've written. One of my, I really do enjoy burning through books. Tim Ferriss is definitely one of my big inspirations. Cool. He mainly writes, his big one was 4 Hour Work Week, which is more business orientated. But what he says about lifestyle design, about getting the most out of like the hours you spend doing something is really inspiring, and it's really practical in a lot of ways. And just his attitude towards being multi-talented, like it's not about specializing. For him, it's about become a master at learning how to learn. That was his thing.
That's cool.
So like I really like his stuff.
Yeah. This is a good question from Richard Faraday. Are there any correlations you see, aside from the obvious hard work, etc., between the people who manage to make freerunning their careers?
That's a toughie, actually. Obvious correlation? I mean, when you meet these people, they all have this really sort of confident mindset. They're all talented freerunners everywhere, but successful ones do have that ambitious mindset. They do have this attitude of like, that's achievable, and they really do go for it.
There's a self-belief, I think.
And they're not afraid to make the hard decisions. Like a lot of the time, especially when you're hanging out with people from lower economic backgrounds, they tend to not want to make those hard decisions about their own life. Like they think someone else should be making this decision. But I think with people who get successful, they really do take it in their own hands.
I think they're the ones you see that often you look at them and you think, they could be successful and they maybe should be successful, but they're not quite confident enough just to be themselves, and they're trying to follow someone else's formula that worked for someone else, and yet they're confused as to why they've not made it, and when really they should just focus on just being who they want to be inside.
It's all in the detail, like the little ability to make those little decisions, like off the top of their head, like I'm gonna do this.
Cool. I think that wraps it up for this week's interview. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to Flow for more POVs, interviews, lifestyle. We're doing an episode on Farang, on how they live behind the scenes, everything. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.